that also in your opening, incremental steps, and you also said in your opening you would fight against tax increases. So what kind of incremental steps do we take, and how do we finance those steps? How do we take them?
Right. Excellent question. There is, I'll give you an example of it, and that's reallocation of money we have in budgets. The school budget is the responsibility of Ms. Keller and the school board, and I think they've done a pretty darn good job given what they've had to work with. However, there are some areas I take issue with, and I do so from talking with teachers. A teacher told me just yesterday, she said that there was a secretary that retired not too long ago, high school education, working for the administrators, not for teachers. And she made $85,000 a year. I mean, my goodness, what are the administrators making? They're making six figures at least. I would say this. I believe in economies of scale. That I worked, my job in the Capital Defender's office, I started at $85,000, and I was charged with saving people's lives if I could. We really have to look at our budget and see what we're doing. By the way, the state put out, we did an audit in 2012, and it looked at really part of the audit was number of teachers to the number of administrators, you could say, but support staff, you could say also. And we are 2 to 1, whereas the state was recommending closer to 4 to 1. So we can look at this budget, find the fat, and it's there, and absolve the teachers of any of that kind of issue by looking at this and reallocating correctly. Money's there.
May I respond?
Certainly, Mr. O'Brien, certainly.
I actually have a copy of the school budget here. This is, let's see, which school is this one here? I think this is one of the elementary schools. Office of the principal, salaries and wages, $84,000. So if you're a principal with a master's or perhaps a PhD, you make $84,000. Clerical salary and wages, $43,000. I don't think that's $80,000. You know, they're not getting paid that much. They haven't, in fact, gotten raises in almost 5 years. The idea that somehow or another we're going to find the necessary cuts on the administrative side is going to be tough. 82% of the school budget goes to salaries. I believe about 15% of the school system is in the form of administration. Okay, there aren't enough cuts to be made. And Mr. Kelly, I think, comes out and says, I want to take care of teachers, but the first thing I'm going to do is cut teachers. Okay, I don't understand that. I mean, that basically doesn't work. You know, the problem is that we have basically cut teachers over and over and over again, and they've lost out in that equation. We have, again, not given them raises in almost 5 years. We asked them to take cuts in their form of their health insurance plans. We asked them to take cuts in the form of the disability plans. This is not a friendly environment for teachers. The reason they're leaving is because they can get better opportunities elsewhere. They love our kids here. They care about our kids. But they need to hear from our community that we care about them. And you can't get that from them when you go out and say, okay, well, we're going to cut you even more.
Mr. Kelly, you're looking as if
I never said I was going to cut teacher salaries. I never said that. I'm quite the contrary. I will read this study done. Robinson, Farmer, and Cox Associates, CPAs, October 10, 2012. This is a comparison of Fluvanna Public Schools fiscal year 13 budget, the state of Virginia required program expenditures. In it, to say, we note that the state is projecting funding for 330 instructional and support staff. The division, 264 teachers instructional and 66 support. The Fluvanna County budget, school budget, however, are going to do 346 instructional and 158 support. So what I've argued, and I've said this before, is that there's fat in this budget. We don't need all these ministers, and the teachers are mad about them. I am not gonna cut teachers' salaries. I don't want them furloughed. But there's fat in this budget, there's unnecessary expenses going on. We need to look closer at this budget as we do the Flavanna County budget overall. We are required to do that as supervisors. I'm going to do that. Thank you.
No?
So-
Mr. O'Brien?
So I'm struggling here because basically we have almost the lowest per student expenditure of all the surrounding counties. Okay, we spend about $9,200, say in comparison to Albemarle, where they spend closer to $14,000. Just to compare to Louisa, we'd have to spend almost $25 million more on our schools. But somehow or another, even though we're at the lowest levels, or second lowest levels in the area, there's plenty of fat in there, according to Mr. Kelly. However, if you actually sat at a board meeting and watched the board discuss the upcoming needs for the budgets, you would have noted that pretty much across the board, all the supervisors said there isn't anything left to cut. Okay, we are dangerously close to standards of quality levels, which means that we could lose the accreditation of our schools. Okay, that's a problem, guys. You know, people move to this area because of the quality of schools, as well as other things. And if we don't have good schools here, we are going to lose out in a big way. We will see our property values decline. The idea that we can continue to find savings within our schools when we have the lowest per capita spend is absolutely nuts, okay? Doesn't make any sense. We have to take care of our schools. It's one of the reasons why I'm running. I understand this problem very well, and I take great offense to the idea that we're going to be able to somehow or another find extra fat in a system that has basically been decimated, okay? Basically been decimated. It's unacceptable.
Concerning the